I apologize for this setting, but this is the 4th attempt of doing this video. I've recorded it 3 times already, but the SD card in this particular GoPro has failed. So here I am doing it on another GoPro. So this vlog video, if you've seen the Instagram post, is about the wet fish of aviation. And if you're not familiar with the Monty Python sketch, here it is. Okay, so basically, I still haven't done my long cross country, but it isn't for a lack of trying. We've been waiting for like perfect weather to be able to do it, and it's always been Wilkes-Barre International because it's a higher elevation that's let us down. Twice I went to the airport because the weather looked good, got there, and then the weather changed. Once I went up and the thunderstorm came up while we were doing the warm-up flight. I had to cancel. Then Tuesday we got perfect weather. We was up doing the flight, and then it showed that it got a little bit windy, and basically I bombed the warm-up flight because the winds were more than what we're used to. I haven't done crosswind takeoffs or landings in a while, so I got blown about quite a bit, and I made some kind of serious blunders, stupid blunders, but what happened is my mind just blew out, basically. I was on autopilot, and that's what I equate to the wet fish analogy, because my mind stopped thinking. I was just doing everything that I've done before, repeated pattern. And I know that I got no one else to blame but me. It was my fault. It was my mistake, and that is the hardest part about this. There is no other fault or other cause to it. It's just a psychological effect. Every time I go to do my flight, I'm prepping myself mentally, gearing myself up to go and do a flight lesson, do a flight training. I mentally prepare, and every time we get close to it and then having to stop and then coming back up, it messes with your mind. And it kind of reminds me of like of a tire blowing out, popping up. It's the mental version of that. Go away, Fiona. It reminded me of a time where something similar happened, and it's a good way to explain it. When I was in middle school, 12 years old, Robert Middle School, I used to do chess tournaments every year for every term, and for years in a row I was winning everyone except for one term. I taught my best friend to play chess basically from scratch, Lee Wilkinson, and it was a proud moment for me because it showed that I taught him good, because he beat everyone else that was in the chess club. And it came down to me versus him, student versus apprentice, best friend versus best friend. So it was a lot of emotional and a lot of attention to it, and it was really intense. For a 12-year-old, that is, it was even more. Um, if you're in England, think of it as Norwich City versus Ipswich Derby. If you're in America, think of it as Yankees versus Boston Red Sox. It was.
The bullpens, they're coming now. Both bullpens out.
Was that intense. Like I wanted to beat him. I know I can beat him. I knew there was no way that he was going to beat me. So I go ready to play the match on a Tuesday to find out it's been cancelled. He's not well. He's not sick. Fair enough. Then this happened 6 weeks in a row, and by that time I was starting to lose it, because I had myself geared up, so mentally prepared to play and ready. Because what you may not understand or realize is that when you're preparing for a game of chess mentally, you are gearing it up. You're silencing your mind. You're getting your game mind on. You're prepping yourself. You're psyching yourself in for a battle. And so by the time that you've already sat down, you've already got your game in your mind. You know the first 20 moves ahead of time, and to have that suddenly blown away because the game got cancelled, it does have a psychological effect on you. So by the time that the game did come to play, I lost. He didn't beat me, I beat myself, and that was the most annoying part. Every other term, like I lost, that was in the spring term. All the others I won. It was just me. And it's exactly the same principle with what happened this week. I know I can land. I know I can take off. I know I can do taxiing. I can fly the plane. I see it. I've done cross countries. I've flown. I know that I can do it. So everything that happened this past Tuesday was because of me. I hadn't flown for almost 2 weeks. I haven't done crosswind takeoff and landings in quite some time, so I got blown around a little bit, and I can't expect to do grease landings coming back from a 2-week non-flying, and then I was making stupid mental mistakes too. Like I read back the taxi instructions wrong, so I almost had 2 runway incursions, which is, there's no sugarcoating that. That's serious. We was told to go to runway 31, and I read back Bravo 3, cross runway 31, hold short at Bravo for runway 31, and he said hold short at Bravo 3, do not cross runway 31 the first time, and I would have gone onto the runway. The second time, I swear I heard the towers saying low approach or touch and go approved, and he actually said low approach only approved. So if I actually had touched down, that would also have been a runway incursion. But my instructor was with me, and he called that. Like, there's no way about it. It was a bad warm-up flight, and clearly I didn't go flying. And again today, the next day we practiced. We got the tower to give me different instructions that I'm normal, different instructions than what I was expecting or what I'm used to, and it was a lot better. And then today, we was doing the warm-up flight again, trying to get it done, and then the winds picked up. They started gusting, so we used it to practice. And then on the third time, I finally got it, but the winds were variable, changing directions. So for the last 3 attempted landings that I did, the winds were coming from 250, 220 to whatever, and I was landing at 24, so it was coming from my right. So I was doing the forward slips to the right to do it. But on the last one, the one before, um, the wind was coming from the left at 290, and it was coming from the opposite direction, and I didn't change it. I kept trying to do right wing low, and I ended up kept. It looked like I was crabbing right until the last moment. My instructor thought I was trying to crab, but it was me thinking the wind was still coming from the right. My mind didn't acknowledge that it had changed and it was coming from the left. So I needed to do left wing low and right rudder to face the runway. We did a full stop, went back, did another one, and that one was perfect. It just showed me and proved to me that mentally you cannot take your foot off the gas. The moment you stop thinking, the moment that you become carefree, is the moment that aviation slaps you silly. And twice that's happened. We went back in, we waited for an hour and a half, we checked the TAF and it showed that it was still gusting 19 today, and there was potential wind shear at 2,000 feet, which is an absolute no-go for me. And the wings are outside of the farm that we have, the standard operating procedures my school has. So it just wasn't safe. So the school did tell me, and everyone says be aware of the aviation is about everything changing at the last second, at the last minute. I listened, I heard them, but I guess I didn't really understand it until this happened. Everything can change, even while mid-air, at the last second. You've got to be on your A game the entire time. You've got to keep your mental focus. I'm applying a lot of the same skills that I used for chess for flying by mentally focusing on the board for 3 hours and nothing else. And I guess Tuesday my mind just blew out like a burst tire. Like it gave like all of this psychic prepping, mentally preparing myself to fly, because it just like chess, by the time I get to the airport, I have already flown the route in my mind. I know what I'm doing. I know what's going to happen. I know I'm preparing to go into the taxi. I know I'm going to be talking to clearance. I know I'm going to be getting instructions. I'm thinking 2-4, expecting 2-4. If they get me anything else, it's probably going to be 3-1. I'm going to take off. If I go to Lancaster, the first waypoint to my left is Queen City, and the next waypoint is the plant and Kutztown. To my right, plant immediately down underneath me to the right. So, should be GoPro. But yeah, and then immediately after that, I know it's after the Kutztown, the plant. Next, I will see Reading approaching. I will have the VOR set up. So when I'm parallel with Reading, I will have the Pottstown VOR and that. And then a little bit after that, I have Denver, which is the 12-mile mark into Lancaster. Cancel flight forward, start my descent, contact tower, and land at 26 or whatever runway they give me. Take off, go up to Wilkes-Barre at 5,500. Minimum clearance is 3,100. So I could go to 3,500, but that's too close to the terrain. So I mitigate the risk by going high, 5,500. And I am expecting runway 28 is right pattern traffic at Wilkes-Barre. So I'm expecting to be factored around so I can go right. And into 28 coming off, I will be again right traffic and back down to Allentown. It would be impossible for me to get lost after I'm over the hill. To the right, we'll have Hazelden. Underneath me, we'll have the Turnpike, I-80 Turnpike. And then a little bit down the air, down the sky, we will have Beltsfield Lake to my right. We have Blue Mountain Academy to, again, with the Speedway to the left. And then I'll see Palmerton to my quarter, as well as probably the Highton if it's good. Once I am at Beltsfield Lake, I contact ATC for Allentown 124.45 because I'm coming from the west and I'm above 3,000 feet and I'm under their control. I'm expecting 2-4, so I'll be going straight in right base for 2-4 into landing down thing. See, it's all in my head. I've already flown the flight in my mind, and I am ready for this. So when you go up to the airport expecting flying and then it cancels, it messes with you. So do it too many times, it will psych yourself out. You mess yourself out. Like you've it's crazy. I mean, the chess games I played at Wyndham Chess Club are over 20 years ago, but I can still play every single game mentally from memory that I play most of the tournaments. Just because I was studying so hard. You stare at nothing else but the chessboard for the hours. You mentally imprint that game into your head as you play it, and it's exactly the same for flying. You've got to keep your eyes watching the entire board. You've got to think ahead. You can't let the plane fly you. You've got to fly ahead of the plane. You got to think 7 or 8, 10 moves ahead, and you've got to do several things at once while still flying the plane. Like you got to keep a hand on the yoke while changing the frequency with the other hand. If you do get lost, can you pull up your maps, E6B, do the plotter, do the triangulation with the VORs, circle, you know. If the engine quits, are you going to be able to make this airfield, or where's your best landing option? You know, if you're feeling queasy after you take off, what do you do? This one was a favorite of my instructor. You close the vents, open the windows, open the air vents, and land as soon as possible. You know, I'm ready for this, and it's so hopefully we'll get it done. Because, well, we will get it done. It's one of the most frustrating parts of a student learning to fly, and this is probably the hardest aspect of the private pilot training, in my opinion, of the entire private course. They say the private pilot is the hardest. Once you've got the fundamentals, instrument, and the rest is easy. It's just adding on to what you already know. But the individual aspect of private training, learning the fundamentals is okay. Learning to land is hard. But once you get it, the hang of it, it's easy. But I think the mental aspect of learning to fly and actually flying is the hardest part, because you really do have to train your mind as well as everything else. You're not just training the skills in your hands, feet, and everything else. It's a combination of everything. And if one of that if one system is off or not working, it throws everything off. And when my mind quit on Tuesday for whatever reason, I'm calling a blowout, like a tire blowout, or the carefree attitude where my mind wasn't thinking, it was just exhausted. I was just on autopilot. I was just doing what I've done before, barely awake. Well, I was awake, but just like mine was on autopilot. My mind wasn't thinking except for anything that's immediately in front of me. And it was just I don't know, it's hard to explain it, but it's the only way that I can think of it is like a tire bursting on the road, or the plane tire on the runway bursting, and then the plane's done, you can't move it, you need to tow, or you need to change the tire. But once you're in that state of mind, you become carefree, kind of, and you become automated. And again, that's when aviation stops down. So, oh goodness, that's 20 minutes. So I'm gonna cut it here. This is the fourth attempt. It looks like it's a wrap. So this particular GoPro and SD card works. I will keep you updated when I finally do my long flight cross country. I did see Russ's latest video. He is getting better with his maneuvers. I'm quite proud of him. I hope he does well with his check ride when it's come. I know he's prepping now for his course, for his license. He flies out of Rings Airfield, and he's got a beautiful family. His daughter just graduated her high school, I believe, or if not college. So the he's got everything going for him right now. He does a lot of good stuff, and he puts out a great message to YouTube, and he's on a similar path to me. He's doing a similar thing. It's just that he is Part 61 school, and I'm a Community 141 school. So it's a great way to see the difference between the two by watching him in a pilot controlled airfield compared to me in an ATC controlled airfield and a more stricter environment. But yeah, okay. Like, share, and subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Adios, amigos.